What is going on, guys? Craig 1287 here, bringing you some Battlefield 4 gameplay. What's going to be going on there in the background is some pretty early on footage. I think I'm still using the ghost ring here on my P226 pistol, so this is pretty early on footage. And but the reason I picked this is because I was using the MX4, which is a PDW, and the main purpose of the video is just kind of talking about my odd relationship with the idea of the engineer for Battlefield games, most specifically for Battlefield 4, with the way that the engineer class gets the PDWs. So, but first, I do want to say that in the video description is going to be a link to a product from Pixel, I'm guessing pronounced just Pixel, and it is the second third-party Steam machine that has been announced, and it's really interesting. It's much more expensive than the one that we saw from iBuyPower, which was in line with the cost of the Xbox One, while still being more powerful than the Xbox One. But this one from Pixel is I'm not going to say it like that anymore, I promise. Yeah, the one from Pixel is much more expensive, around like $1,000, but it's one that fits behind your television screen. So you don't even have to see the console. It's really cool, I guess. Since they're Steam, you don't really need to have constant access to putting a disc into a disc tray or anything like that. So that's very cool. This is something I wouldn't have expected to see. It's very cool what these people are doing with these Steam machines. Yeah. That's about all I have to say on that. So let's get on to the actual purpose of this video. Like I said earlier, the strange relationship I have with the engineer and the PDWs, and that Enderwigan guy with his dadgum penis emblem. God, I hope that guy gets reported and banned or whatever. People with their penis emblems, that stuff just aggravates me. It's so immature. When the gaming industry is trying so hard, for the most part, to get recognized as a legitimate, form of entertainment, as an entertainment industry, as a form of art. It's just, God, these people with their penis emblems, the video game industry has got a ways to grow. We've got a ways to go to grow. And boy, can I not wait till we mature quite a bit. But hey, yeah, like I said, PDWs and the engineer class. Now, in Battlefield 3, obviously, the engineer class was given the carbines. And these were similar to assault rifles, just slightly not as good as far range. Now, typically for Battlefield games, obviously this depends on the game type you're playing. If you're in TDM or Domination, you're going to see a lot more close quarters. Your targets are not going to be as far away. But also in those two game modes, you're not going to be facing vehicles as often. For the most part, I don't think at all, really. In PDWs are typically guns you would want to use in close range. They've got that, solid hip fire. They've got a really, really tight hip fire compared to the other weapons. And for the most part, PDWs, I don't know why their reload times are so long. I really wish DICE gave the PDWs a faster reload time. Most of them reload similarly to pistols. Like in a way that the magazine is inside of the gun handle. So why they don't have reload times similar to pistols, especially since they're close quarters weapons. So in close quarters, that's typically where reload time has the biggest benefit, because the likelihood of someone coming around that corner real quick. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. So it's always kind of bugged me just in that. But they give engineers the PDWs for Battlefield 4. Now, and if all this is not making sense, well, that's because it's 1 a.m. right now while I'm recording this. I just got off a spree playing Hawken, that mech free-to-play shooter with John, and that game is actually really cool. Probably get a video up at one point, but I just noticed we closed down. It's 1 a.m. and I realized, I haven't made a video to upload for tomorrow, so that's probably why what I'm saying doesn't make any sense, is I'm a little sleepy. But back on track, back on point. PDWs, all right, yeah, engineers are good on the, they excel the most against vehicles at range. You know, yeah, people with C4 can. Oh god, this tank shot that kills me. That Gregory guy, all he did was play vehicles that whole time. But yeah, they typically excel on large maps in which they can take out vehicles from afar, and maps in which you're going against air, because it's, yeah, you could, but it's tough to kill air with C4. Typically they don't fly that low, and you're not going to be able to. It could happen, but the likelihood very slim versus a person using a straw or Igla or Stinger or something of that sort. So, but even then, vehicles, engineers are going to take out vehicles more often than any other class. So, typically, statistically. And these are the maps with vehicles that are typically the largest maps. They don't have a whole lot of close quarters. And so it sucks when, yeah, granted, I know you can use the carbines as the engineer. You can still use the carbines in BF4, but it just kind of sucks that the weapon class specific to, the one exclusive to the engineers, are typically weapons you don't want to use in that game mode. And so it's not necessarily that it sucks as an engineer because you have because your exclusive weapon is the PDW. It's just, it sucks for the PDWs that they're exclusive to the engineer. I really miss being able to use PDWs on all the classes because support makes a good bit of sense in Domination for Battlefield 3, and it makes sense in Team Deathmatch. Yeah, there are people that are going to want their rockets to spam. That's something I don't like using RPGs and stuff against straw. Using the straw against long distance infantry and stuff like that, like snipers, that actually is pretty fun. But just running around with the RPG out or the straw or the small or something like that, in the thought process of using it against infantry, just doesn't. That's not my playstyle. So, but again, I want to use PDWs for close range. I want to use these the Scorpion. I want this high rate of fire weapon with the laser sight on there and the hip fire foregrip, whichever one that is. Not the stubby, but yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. The one that gives you 50% better movement hip fire. Yeah, I want to be able to use that stuff for TDM and squad deathmatch and domination. These small game modes where there's a lot of innards, a lot of indoor close quarters stuff, and it's just a bummer that I'm not going to be able to use the ASVAL when it comes out on all my classes and stuff. I mean, it's just such a bummer. So what are you guys' thoughts on the relationship of PDWs and engineers, them being exclusive? Yeah, you still have carbine access, but PDWs being exclusive, I just wish I could use them on other classes. So whatever, hope you guys enjoyed this rambling late night rant that I just did. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay going on there in the background. Not my best round, but still fairly entertaining, I think. Have a good one. Ta-ta.